Yogi Berra quotes are legendary.
When you come to the fork in the road, take it.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know who that is now, but Yogi Berra played 19 seasons with the New York Yankees, and 18 of those 19 seasons, he was an all-star. He won 10 Major League Baseball championships, the most in Major League Baseball history. And his quotes are legendary. Like this one, baseball is 90% mental. The other half is physical. or this one, you should always go to other people's funerals, otherwise they won't come to yours. But there is one that is especially applicable to salespeople, and it goes like this. If you don't know where you're going, you might wind up someplace else. Well, coming up next, I'll tell you why he is dead on. This is Sales Untraining, a very different kind of sales podcast. 3 out of 4 salespeople are failing. They're falling short of their revenue. Why doesn't sales training work? That's what this sales podcast is about. It's your weekly sales strategy guide designed to rewire your sales brain. I'm Kelly Riggs. Welcome to Sales Untraining, your weekly sales strategy guide designed to completely rewire your sales brain. Really excited to talk about Yogi Berra this week. If you're a millennial, Google him. You'll find him. Famous baseball player. He's got so many classic quotes, it's unbelievable. I think, well, I could go into it for a while. A lot of classics. But the one that sticks out, the one I mentioned in the open, if you don't know where you're going, you might wind up someplace else. Hey, we want to talk about that because let me tell you my experience, how many salespeople that I've encountered in 18 years of doing what I do, how many have detailed plans to reach their revenue objectives. Ready for this one? 0. Yeah, 0. No, seriously. Well, except for the clients that I work with. But I'm talking about when I first encounter people. Do they have a detailed plan to take them exactly where they want to go? And of course, that destination is your revenue objective. In fact, I often ask at the beginning of any year, how many of you could tell me today that you have 95% confidence you're going to hit your number this year? And nobody says, yeah, well, I do. Well, actually, that's not entirely true. I've had a couple of people raise their hand very confidently and say, I can. Well, how can you say that? And they say, because I always hit my number. Wow, I love people like that. I need a dozen of them on my team, please. Thank you very much. Well, most people can't say that. In fact, most people look at you like you've lost your mind. You can't know that. You can't know that you can hit your number. You don't know what's going to happen. And I just love to engage with people like that because I always wonder how they manage to go anywhere, do anything. How did you go on vacation last year? I mean, after all, was it luck? I mean, after all, you don't know what's going to happen. You're going to plan a vacation for 9 months from now and wind up, 6,000 miles away on the other side of the world with your entire family. How is that possible? Oh, you had a plan. Okay, well, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Any good plan is supposed to account for some level of variability. Of course, you can't know 100%, but you can get pretty close with the right plan. So the question for you is, how many of your people right now, if you ask them, have a detailed roadmap to take them exactly where they want to go that will help them hit their revenue objective this year? And I know it's early in the year, so how many of them can say that? Well, if you're like most companies I work with, the answer is either no one or very, very few, or you're going to get some variant of, well, yeah, I have a plan. What is it? Well, I'm going to work really hard. I know my products well. I'm going to follow up on every lead. I'm going to be available. I'm going to do prompt follow-up calls, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. In other words, their plan goes something like this. I'll chase every lead equally and indiscriminately. Doesn't matter how big, how small, doesn't matter. Every opportunity I'll pursue. Anytime anyone needs anything, anytime, I'll pursue that because I want to be known as someone who does great customer service, who is available at the drop of a hat and will jump in my car and drive 2 hours if necessary and blow up my entire day. That's how I roll, and that's what my customers have come to love about me and trust in me. Well, that sounds amazing, except it's not a plan, and quite frankly, it's very much counterproductive to sales success. Yep, you heard me right. Saying you're going to work hard and pursue all of your leads and take care of all of your customers is not a plan. That's some ideas. It's some pieces and parts, perhaps, of a plan. But can we be clear? A plan is a step-by-step sequence of events that will take you inevitably to a finish line. Inevitably. I mean, listen, you see the same kind of thing going on this time of year when people are trying to get in shape or get back in shape or engage in some kind of workout program, and they go to the gym and they work out hard every day. They come home drenched in sweat, and you ask them and they're like, yeah, I'm giving it everything. I'm killing myself up there. I'm going an hour and a half a day, and I'm jacking weights and I'm doing all this stuff, but I'm not seeing any gains. Well, not substantive gains, not the gains I want. And so you go find out, yeah, they're working really hard. The amount of effort they're expending is ridiculous. But they're doing the same thing over and over and over. I used to spend a lot of time in the workout game back as a high school and then collegiate athlete. Yeah, I was on a team anyway. I did all of that. And it's amazing how many people you would see at the gym every time I went to the gym doing exactly the same thing, bench press or whatever. And, they had monster chest, but no legs and, skinny arms and, all of that kind of thing. And they wondered why they didn't have, enough wind to go run up and down a basketball court 10 or 15 times. They weren't training to anything specific. They were just training. Man, salespeople are like that to a T. I mean, they're working hard. No, I'm not going to question their work ethic, but I can certainly question if what they're doing is prudent and appropriate and effective and a good use of their time, which is easily their single most valuable asset. It's often it's amazing how often you see salespeople who wear as a badge of honor the fact that they will, super serve their customers. And if you go down their customer list, they've got 120 working customers this year, and number 89 calls and needs something right now, don't you know? Got to have it. Need you to get out here today. And they drop everything, jump in their car, and drive out there with a $200 part that they make 40% margin on and, miss out on a half a day of productive activity. Now, before you jump on that train and say, but Kelly, they're servicing a customer. No, they're servicing customer number 89, who last year did about $25K, and my top 20 customers all do $400,000 or more, or something equally huge difference as that, right? But they will tell you how customer oriented they are. Listen, do we pay you to be oriented toward customers? Of course. But ultimately, is that what we pay you to do? No. What we pay you to do is sell. Right? We pay you to hit a number. We pay you to reach a revenue objective. And it's funny how many times salespeople will do anything and everything they possibly can do to avoid doing the very things that would allow them to hit their number. You have to have a plan to go hit that number. You have to have a means, a method, a process that enables you to predictably and consistently create opportunities that, based on even your current closing ratio, your current win rate, you would hit your number. But surprisingly, amazingly so, most salespeople have no idea that they don't have near enough opportunities in their funnel to hit their number. Are you kidding me? That's what you get paid to do. Now, they'll go show you their CRM and, their $1.8 billion in opportunities in the CRM. But you and I both know that the vast majority of what's in CRM is garbage. Most of it's not working. It's not workable. It's not ever going to create revenue for you. But yet we're able to espouse and tell everybody that we've got this wonderful global opportunity of $1.2 billion. Yeah, well, I'm going to call baloney. All right. And coming up next, I'm going to tell you exactly what your salespeople should be doing in order to ensure that they hit their number. I'm Kelly Riggs, host of the Sales Untraining podcast. A couple of quick questions for you. Do you hire salespeople? Is sales turnover far too high in your organization? Do you struggle to find A players for your sales team? Well, these are very common questions, and there is a better way to hire. I'm a partner with Objective Management Group, OMG, and they have been assessing sales candidates for over 30 years. In fact, they've assessed over 2.5 million salespeople. Now, this is a very different type of assessment. First thing out of your mind is it another behavioral assessment? Is it a psychometric tool? Is it a personality quiz? No, nothing like that. It is based on 21 very specific sales competencies. And you need to listen to this. This is crazy. It is 91% predictive of sales performance. That's right, 91% predictive. You can't even make a claim like that without the science behind it. Listen, if you struggle to find the right people, or if you just need a lot more help in the hiring process and making sure you're getting in front of the right people to hire, please email me, kelly@bizlockerroom.com. Oh, by the way, and you can absolutely try it for free, and it has a guarantee. kelly@bizlockerroom.com. Back to the show. Welcome back, Sales Untraining. I'm Kelly Riggs. Hey, I hope you'll like and subscribe to the podcast. And more importantly, I hope you'll find somebody to share it with. Engage many, many more people in this conversation about the things that we need to change systemically about the way we train and develop salespeople. Well, this week, we're talking about planning. Listen, this is just not a sexy topic, okay? It's not like people go, wow, podcast on planning, sign me up. Very few sales managers have the determination to actually take their people through the planning process in order to give them a roadmap to success. It's one of the real challenges that exist. Not in training salespeople per se, but in training sales managers as well. Somebody's got to lead and guide this process. And after having done it now for well over 30 years as a manager, coach, consultant, etc., it's just not something that people do. And yet, even though it's a fair amount of work and it's a grind, once you've done it once, it dramatically changes your outcomes, dramatically changes the way you view what you do, because for the first time, you can actually wake up in the morning on Monday morning knowing everything I'm doing this week is going to lead me directly to my number at the end of the year. Wouldn't that be amazing? Well, I mentioned 3 critical things that you need to have your people doing in order to hit their plan this year, to hit their revenue number, not their plan. In fact, one of the real challenges is the use of words. And I'll ask people, what's your plan? And they'll say, I'm going to do $2.2 million this year. Well, that's not a plan, that's an objective. And yet even I sometimes throw that out there. Hit your plan. Well, it's to hit your revenue objective utilizing a plan. That's exactly what we're talking about. So, some things that need to happen. Number 1, your people need to have a very clear understanding of the gap between what their revenue objective is and exactly where they are or where they will wind up at the current pace. How do you plan to achieve a number if you don't know what the delta is between where you are now and where you're going? And it is amazing how many salespeople have absolutely no clue. I mean, none. Look, where are you? I mean, we're 6 months in. Where are you? Well, I'm 45% of plan. Okay, so you're a little bit behind. You should be at 50% of plan halfway through the year. Yes. Okay, how much does that 5% represent? Well, it's $100,000. Okay, great. So based on your current funnel, based on your current opportunities, will you hit your number? Well, I think so. What do you mean you think so? Either you will or you won't. It should be fairly straightforward. It's just math. You look at the number of opportunities you have, the plausibility that they close, variability of those that might fall out or you might win. Or I mean, it's analysis. You should be able to tell me, well, I can't know that. No, you can know that. It's just like the baseball player who gets a hit 1 out of every 3 times. When they go to bat, we don't go, well, I have no idea if they're going to get a hit. No, I've got a pretty good idea. It's about 1 in 3. Oh, against this particular pitcher, it's more like 4 in 10 because he just kills this guy, right? You're using data. You're using analysis to have a sense of where you are. And that has to begin by where are you now and where are you trying to get to? What's that delta? If they don't know that, if they can't tell you in detail, then they have no earthly idea if they're going to hit their number. Working opportunities in the funnel. Where are they in the funnel? What is the probability that they close this year or this revenue period, whatever that might be? What is the percentage likelihood that we close those deals? And all things being equal, what is the very best guess we can give you based on data where we will end up the year? Then we look at where we're supposed to wind up based on our quota for the year and say, wow, we're going to come up a little short. So knowing that, then we need to have an understanding of how many opportunities it would take to bridge that gap. Now, a lot of people say, well, but I don't have any idea. I don't know. Well, the simple way, which is, by the way, doesn't work, but the simple way is number of customers divided into number of amount of revenue gives you an average, except that it doesn't work that way. I don't want to go out and intentionally pursue small, medium-sized deals. I want to pursue those kinds of deals that fall somewhere firmly in the middle. I need to know what that revenue average looks like per customer. And once I have that, then it's easy math. Let's say a middle of the road customer does $200K and I need $1 million in a gap that I have right now. I won't hit my number. I'm going to be $1 million short. And I need 5 $200,000 customers. The question is simple. Can you create a detailed, specific plan to identify a number of opportunities that will allow you to close 5? If your closing rate is 1/3, I'm going to need 15. Ooh, that sounds like a lot. Well, it's still very early in the year. Perhaps we should get busy prospecting. Listen, you know what the long and short of it is? The number one reason that people don't hit their number, second place isn't close. The number one reason people don't hit their number, they just don't have enough opportunities in their funnel. That's it. I don't care what your closing rate is. Is your win rate 50% of deals, 75% of deals, 1/3 of deals, 25% of deals? Then there's some math involved. And I can take a weighted average of customers, not my lowest, not my average overall, which includes that $2 million giant customer and the one that did $50 last year. That's not accurate, but I can get some detailed number of the typical top of the bell curve average of the customers that I should be pursuing that provide the best return on my invested time. I can take that average number, divide it into my delta, and get a pretty good sense of exactly where I need to be, right? So it's simple. Determine your delta, determine your average revenue for a middle-size account, and then go identify the number of accounts you need based on your current closing ratio and start prospecting. Yeah, it's that simple. I didn't say it was easy. I didn't say it was easy at all. But knowledge is power, and knowing exactly where you are and what you need to do to hit your number is what enables you to create a very detailed, specific plan to go work with purpose, to be intentional, and not just work hard. This is Sales and Training. I'm Kelly Riggs. I'll see you next time.
Sales Untraining is a production of Business Locker Room and Pod About It Productions. Music and editing by Doug Branson. To get more Kelly, visit bizlockerroom.com.